etiquette. These are also called the thumb rule of basic selling. What are they? You have to write it down. These are the thumb rule. The first one, listen carefully. Listen carefully what exactly the prospect or individual talks about himself or herself. Second, don't quarrel. There is no need of quarrel. You, whatever preaching or whatever concept that you are talking about an individual, the individual maybe have the same view or may not have the same view with you. But still, as a personal seller or as a telecaller, you should not quarrel. First one, listen carefully. Second, don't quarrel. Third, while you are communicating by taking the first name of an individual, the people think that the telecaller have giving the basic respect. Fourth one, do not interrupt while communicating with the individual, while he or she is communicating with a telecaller. Don't interrupt. Use magic words like thank you, good morning, good afternoon. Your voice should be clear. It should be very courteous. So this particular formula of communication should be maintained while you are making the process called suspecting or a prospecting. Otherwise, personal selling or the basic of personal selling would not be implemented. Now, in this aspect, we again and again talking about MAT, or we are talking about prospect. We says while you are getting the data of maybe thousands of individuals, at first screening the man out or the screening the MATs out of the data or the sources of data that we accumulate. Now the question arises, why we need MAT data? Why we are screening out the prospect out of the lot? Because without MAT, without the prospect, it is impossible other individual to buy the product or turns into a customer. Just like a 8 standard student never get admission in your BB, or a 10 plus student, 10 standard student never get admission in a MBA course. Because every buying needs the basic attributes. And MATs are those people, prospect are those people who have the basics clear. So that is why we need to screen out through the prospecting method. We screen out the MAT out of the lots. Now, when we find the MAT, when we make the cold calling or when we make the telecalling, fix the appointment. Now, next stage, the sales call would be initiated. Sales call, again I have said, sales call means it is the basic form of communication where it's a personal mode of communication. It's a face-to-face communication between the prospect and the salesman. In this stage by saying, in the sales call stage, the approach would be initiated. Approach method of personal selling. What is approach? In an approach method, it's the personal mode of communication between the prospect and the salesman. And salesman helps or salesman motivate the prospect and turn him into a customer. The first stage is called getting yourself accepted. What exactly it means? By saying getting yourself accepted, we mean to say in India, while customer making the purchase, the decision making is mainly three types. One is called cognitive decision making, the second one is affective decision making, and third one is called conative decision making. In affective decision making, what happens? Out of emotion, a prospect turns into a customer. What exactly happens in a conative buying? Conative buying, that means any discount may persuade, may stimulate a customer, a lead or a prospect turns into a customer. And what is cognitive decision making? Cognitive decision making basically means where prospects go through all the literature, they will make the market survey, they talks with the salesman, and on the basis of that, they will select one brand and reject others. That means cognitive decision making is made out of cognition of a customer. Why I am talking these things? It is necessary because during cold calling and telecalling, a salesman try to understand or try to forecast or anticipate the prospect likes which kind of buying. Is he or she liking cognitive buying, or he or she liking affective buying, or he or she likes conative buying? If he or she likes conative buying, there is hardly any role of a salesman, because ultimately these people buy a product because of simply discounts. No salesman, no preaching, no brand loyalty have any role out of it. Reduce the price, they will change, they will buy the product. Now, if the prospect likes cognitive or affective, then the role of a salesman has been started. And the role of a salesman started the first aspect called getting yourself accepted. Getting yourself accepted means before buying the product, a particular prospect need to like the salesman or need to like the salesman who visited his or her house or office. For that, a salesman should have few rules and regulations need to be maintained. Like while they communicate with the prospect, a proper postures and gestures should be maintained. He should smell good. He should looks good. He should be informal. While communicating with the prospect, he maintain minimum distance, or talking with the prospect, having lean towards the prospect, that give a connotations that the salesman is very keen to understand the need or giving the basic respect to the prospect. And he should be dressed in formals. No casual approach, it should be a formal approach. Use of magic words like this. When a salesman maintaining these kinds of etiquettes, it gives a positive vibes in the mind of target audience or in the mind of prospect. Because before using the product, it is very necessary to create a quality perception about the product or services in the mind of a customer. And that positive perception or positive vibes only be created before using the product is done through that salesman. Because salesman is a image or brand image who is sitting or standing or communicating with the particular prospect. By seeing that salesman, by seeing his etiquettes, by seeing his posture, by seeing his gesture, a lead or a prospect can create a connotation, a perception about the brand. And obviously, if the first meeting is fruitful, the chances of buying the product increases. That's why getting yourself accepted basically means creating a right impressions in the mind of a prospect, establish a rapport with the customer, and read the customer body language. That is very necessary. Lots of time what happen, customer is not saying each and everything through the words. Sometimes body gesture of a prospect, body language of the prospect talks much louder than the words. By seeing the body language, an experienced salesman can understand whether the prospect or a lead can be turned into a customer or not. That's why this three concept is very necessary. Creating a right impression, establish a rapport, and read the prospect body language. Now question arises, please write it down. What are the process of creating right impression in the mind of prospect? First one, please write it down under creating right impression in the mind of the prospect. The first one. Whether salesman should be dressed in proper formal. Number 1 point for creating the right impression. Second, is the salesman hair is on order? Third, whether the shoes are polished. Fourth, whether the salesman carry the business cards, sales material, or their sales pitch is crisp, understandable. Is the body language of the salesman is confident, professional enough for creating a right impression? So these are very simple things, but these simple things have high impact in the mind of a prospect. Now the second, how a salesman creating a rapport? How a salesman creating the rapport? Because rapport building is very necessary. Without rapport building, further communication cannot be initiated. Even the chances of lead turns into a customer minimizes. How the rapport can be created? The process, like number 1, a salesman should smile sincerely, because smile is the medicine. People forget of smiling, but the smile has a great impact. Smiling people looks much better. Maintain an eye contact. If you are maintaining an eye contact as a salesman with the lead now, then then the lead or a prospect thinks whatever preaches or whatever concept the salesman is going to talk or talking is genuine. When you are making an eye contact with the leads, it shows your genuine, it shows your sincerity, your honesty. Third, lean slightly towards the lead. When you are leaning towards the lead, that means the prospect or the lead thinks the salesman gives importance. He is keen to listen. And in this world, everybody likes to get the importance. So that is why give importance to the lead by little bit leaning, little bit listening carefully what exactly he is uttering. Keep a relaxed, open stance. Give a relaxed view. इससे क्या लगेगा? This particular leads is open up. You will talk lots of things. And from there you can understand what exactly their genuine needs are. Now, started to subtly copy the behavior or copy the customer's behavior. This is very necessary. Subtly copy the customer behavior. By saying copy the customer behavior means try to understand the language or imitate the body language that customer is habituated or the lead is habituated. If you are talking on the same language that leads one to listen, then the prospect or a lead is very comfortable talking with the salesman. So what exactly we talk? We talk about the process of creating right impression. We talk about the process of creating established and rapport. And here I just want to add one normal statistics out of here. How a salesman has been evaluated, or how a product would be evaluated of the first meeting with the prospect. It has been said, the study has been said, 7% of the prospect create positive connotation or create positive impact through the words that a salesman talks with the prospect. 38% creates, or 38% leads create positive connotations about the brand while talking with the salesman and listening the tone, the modulation, the tone, the words that a salesman use. If it is soothing, then obviously 39% of the lead creates a positive approach towards the brand. And 55% depends on the body language of the salesman. If body language is confident, if you are making eye contact, if you are little bit lean towards the prospect, if you are using magic words, if you are making eye contact, it all creates a very positive vibes in the mind of the lead. So this is the first stage of approach, getting yourself accepted. Next stage, that is utter the prime statement, we will discuss in the next presentation. Thank you. Stay connected and stay blessed.